Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our coffee with myself and Tim, where we're going to be talking about why human content creates 7 times as much engagement as other content. Timothy Hughes, it's really an honor to have you on my little live stream. How are you getting on?
I'm great, Sam, and we're not going to talk about the rugby, okay?
No, we're not allowed to talk about the rugby. And tell us a bit about yourself, because some people might not know, be familiar with your work. So tell us a bit about you.
Yes, about me. I'm CEO and co-founder of a company called DLA Ignite. We've now been going for 4.5 years. But the backstory to how I got here was that I joined Twitter. It's 11 years in April, actually. And then I was involved in a social selling rollout at a very large US software company. My first book that I wrote it's now sold 5,500 copies, which is
amazing.
This book is pretty cool.
Cool.
And we help people transform their businesses to use social or to sell virtually or remotely, depending on how you call it. And that's what we do. And as you can imagine, it's quite busy.
Well, do you know what? It's brilliant. I've been following you for a while, and you're doing great things. And I know that myself and yourself connected on LinkedIn as well. Just we were looking at an article, and we both commented on the article. So do you want to tell people a little bit about that? Because that's the reason we're here this morning, because we thought it was really interesting.
Yes. So the article's written by someone called Catherine Cole. That's Catherine with a C and Cole with an E. And she works for Telstra. They're clients of ours. What it was about was some research that they've been doing while we've been working with them. So the backstory is that we help organizations transform to what we call a social organization, which is about using social strategically. Most companies use it tactically. It's in marketing, it may be in HR, but we actually roll it out across the whole of the organization. That's what they're building a social organization. And part of that is in sales. They have got, the sample size was 10 participants over 5 months, 4 salespeople, 3 technical people, 2 marketers, and a program lead. And really what they were talking about was the response that they got by empowering their teams on social to talk in their own authentic voice, which I know we always talk about a lot, but not often people actually implement that.
True. So I actually loved the article when I saw it, because it was like, oh my God, we've been saying this for years, Tim, haven't we?
Yeah, it's interesting, because actually, if you go out and look, all of the big brands, the McKinseys, the Gartners, they're all saying this. But for some reason or other, what happens is that people get back to their desks and then don't implement it. But it was actually nice to actually run some research ourselves, with Telstra, and for them to say and actually validate what everybody else says, which is nobody likes branded content, nobody likes adverts, nobody likes people that go online and say, buy my product because it's great, which is what so many marketers do. And actually what they want is to hear the voice of the people. We've been saying for years that your only USP is your employees, and this basically tells people that. And what businesses need to be doing is empowering their employees to talk in their own voice on social media. And I know I'm just another person saying that, but this is some research that actually proves that. And I know it's not a massive sample, it's not thousands of people, but the response that they're getting from, in terms of likes, comments, is immense, and the amount of business they're getting as well. It would not be for me to tell you how much business they're getting from it, but let me say it's significant.
Yeah, and I see it all the time. I see people saying, oh, I'm not getting results, and And then you look at their stuff and it's like, well, you're just putting out ads all the time. I want to see the team.
Yes.
I want to see the team behind the scene. I want to, even if you're closed, Tim, I know a lot of people are closed at the moment and they probably hate the fact that we're doing this at all, because it's like, well, that's okay for you guys, we're closed. But you know what? Even if you're closed, folks, show behind the scenes. There's a great Twitter account, Moher Cottage.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever been to Ireland, if you've been to the west of Ireland, to County Clare, but she's in County Clare near the cliffs of Moher.
I went to a meeting to the place that makes Botox. It's on the west side of Ireland. It's about, you go to Dublin and then drive for about 3 days.
Galway.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Well, look, there's a lady in Moore Cottage, and even though they're closed at the moment, she's putting out her morning walks. She's putting out the sunrise, the sunset. She's got the dog there. The dog has become a bit of a star as well. And she's getting online orders for people who are missing stuff about Ireland, because she has a shop that has lots of Irish products. So she's still getting sales even though she's closed.
There was a margarine, I don't know if it's still being sold, called Stork SB. And they advertised all the way through the Second World War, and they basically said, we'll be back. And I think it's the same, you know, whatever you are, actually now's the time to be marketing, because people are online and people will remember it. You know, I'm trying to support small businesses, especially in my locality. So, you know, whenever we can, if I see something, I go, right, we're even though we have to do takeaway, we're going to go to this place because they're doing takeaway. We need to support them. You know, even if it's a bacon sandwich, and you know, it's.
I agree, and it's just so important. And I think a lot of people are aware now, I think even more, of how important it is to support small business. But even if you're closed, like my daughter, she's a lash technician, Tim, and because her salon is closed and she can't actually physically do the lashes, she got a qualification. So now she's training the other beauticians that are closed how to do lashes. You know, and she's actually getting people on her masterclass, her lash masterclass. And, you know, there are different ways. It's lovely to see all the pivots happening, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of things that for me really stood out from that research, which is the fact that that they were getting 6 to 7 times more engagement on the content if the people were doing it rather than the brand.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that what the mistake that people make is that we always say to people, because they treat social media tactically, what they do is they post something and then they walk away from it.
Yeah.
And actually it's the likes and the comments, and people go, well, it's all about vanity. No, actually the likes and the comments is the gold.
Yes.
And because if someone likes your post, you have something in common.
Yeah.
And what we try and do is that, you know, as humans, is that we always try and create something where we have something in common. So you talked about the west of Ireland, and I immediately started talking about, I've been to the west of Ireland and I went to a meeting there and I stayed overnight, because then we have something in common. And the thing about likes and comments is that you have a commonality with that. So if you post something, here I am on the beach, you know, here's a classic Sam Kelly post. Here I am on the beach with my dog. Aren't I, you know, I'm blessed to be living by the coast. And the people that like and comment on that have something in common with Sam. I don't actually live by the beach and I don't have a dog, but I can see the beauty in it. And therefore you have an opportunity to have a conversation with those people. Now, it may not lead to a sale, but it might do.
Well, Tim, actually, that's a really good example, because you put up your bushy park walks, yeah? And obviously I commented, and we've kept our relationship alive by keeping that engagement going. And that's not the reason I was commenting, by the way, but like, I'm just saying, you know, that because I knew you love nature and I loved, and then when I had the video for Sober St. Patrick's Day, I said, sure, I'll get Tim to do one with the deer, you know, or, you know, with the park, because I knew you had the lovely park there and I wanted to show off Europe a bit. And, you know, it was, And so now we've done, and I know I have sent introductions your way and vice versa. So it's about building relationships and keeping those relationships, but genuinely, not just providing just
I mean,
for the
I've
sake
never
of
met
it,
you, Sam.
you know. No,
And
I didn't realize that actually.
and I may never meet you, but the thing is that we have things in common, and you know, we go through this process of knowing someone, liking someone, and trusting somebody. And because that we've actually, you know, you've passed things to me and I've passed things to you. We're probably through that process of knowing, liking, and trusting. But we can do this not just with anybody, just because you're famous on Twitter. We can do this with everybody. And I think a lot of the mistakes that people often make is that they see everybody as someone that they can try and sell to. And actually, that we see there's being three types of people. One, you can sell to people. Two, the second type of person is you may not sell to them, but they may refer you. Yeah, and that's important. You know, I can't buy right now, but you know, my brother-in-law is looking for the system that you're selling right now. He won't have even heard about you. The third type of person is what we call people with big mouths, but probably not a nice thing to say. But basically, they're willing to take what you do and share that with their network.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is that you're taking they're taking your influence and sharing that through their influence. So you're starting to be seen by other people that you're probably not involved in or probably not talking to right now. And it's the power of the network. And I can't, you know, I could do a whole show on the power of the network and how networks, networks help us. I mean, you know, we don't have a business plan, and we don't have a business plan as a business because things just turn up because of the power of the network. And that's the kind of three type of people. And so don't see everybody as a sale. See everybody as a conversation. And this is the thing that we try and teach salespeople, is that you go out, have a conversation, and some days you win and some days you lose. But that's kind of sales.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to comment for the people who are watching. I can't see your comments at the moment, and I might just click refresh, Tim, if that's okay, and come back.
Yeah,
now, if
I can.
Tim disappears, can you see the comments?
Yes.
I can't in my screen. So is it okay, folks, if I just refresh and I come back? If I disappear, I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to click refresh and see if that works. Okay. So Tim, stay there. I'll be back in a minute. Right.
You're on the other side now.
I'm back. So can you see me now?
Yes.
Oh, I can't hear you. Why is that? So folks, sorry about this. That was a bad experiment to do in the middle of a live stream, wasn't it? But anyway, yeah, I just want to see. I can't see the comments. I can't hear you, Tim.
You can't hear me.
There. So look, anyway, sorry about that. I was just trying to see the comments because I think it's really important that we see the comments, and I wanted to engage with the people who are commenting and put them on the screen. But I'm only trying this out at the moment, so I just lost the comments because I clicked the wrong button. So
I can see the comments.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
No, I can't hear you. I wonder, can everybody else? Ah, there we are. Yes, hi. Yvonne, can you let us know? Now I can see the comments. Yvonne, can you let us know if you can hear Tim? This is a great experiment about live streaming, actually. So, Yvonne, if you can let me know if you can hear Tim, if you can hear me. Maybe you refresh Tim and come back, okay? Do you want to try that? So, yeah, we're talking about being more human, and now we're being human by doing our live stream. And I clicked refresh, and then I disappeared.
You still can't hear me.
Okay, Michelle can hear us both.
Michelle can hear us both, yeah.
So Michelle can hear us both, and I can't hear Tim. So maybe it's just me. I can't hear you. I'm going to take the headphones.
Shall I mime? Or should we do place your odds? I can't hear you now. Can't hear you now. You'd need to change the settings at the bottom because it's probably set up for the microphone.
I am going to end the live stream. Sorry about that, Tim. I'm going to end the live stream because something has gone wrong here. You can hear and see both of us. Okay.
So Tim, you speak again.
I'm speaking now, but you can.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Have you changed your settings down?
All right, sorry about that. Well, look, everybody, as you heard, Tim knows his stuff, and we were talking about being human, and we just displayed being human while we're live streaming. So, Tim, have you anything to add? I won't be able to hear you, but for the audience, please. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, guys. Have I changed my settings? I haven't. Let me just try that. Okay, Tim, you go ahead and I'll try that. Go on. Go ahead.
I have the wheel, yeah. I've just told Samantha to look at the wheel on the settings there. It's like it's my show now, isn't it? What should I say? There was some, for me, there was some interesting in this article, there was some interesting conclusions. One of the conclusions was, and this is Catherine Cole's words, is that traditional business-to-business marketing is screwed. She said, forget product-centric messages, forget gated content on social platforms, stop broadcasting branded messages in the hope that some of it will stick. Our pilot tells us that hardly anybody is listening anymore.
Yeah, I can hear you now, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Thanks.
And I think that's important. The fact that we often think of things from our own selling marketing point of view, rather than actually from the buyer's point of view. And the fact of the matter is the buyer isn't listening. So it doesn't matter how much of this that how much of that mud that we throw at the wall, none of it's sticking.
Look, I totally agree with you, and I feel, and I think, well, I don't think, I know that anytime I put up a post on LinkedIn, like Twitter, yeah, I will always get a lot of engagement on Twitter, but when I put up a post on LinkedIn that's human, Tim, that gets much more engagement.
Yes,
people are human, like people are suffering. People are suffering all over the world. People are really finding this tough. Look, if you're finding it tough, everybody's finding it tough. Okay.
Yes.
So if you can actually put up a post that's going to help someone, give hope, inspire, help people identify with you. Because I remember once when I said, Jesus, you know, this is really tough. When they see, oh my God, if she's having it tough and she's very resilient, then I must be okay, you know. And
yes.
It really is on LinkedIn in particular. I am finding that the human.
So one of the things that we often get, Sam, and I think this is really important because it may come up in the comments, and if it doesn't, one is that LinkedIn isn't Facebook.
Yeah. Oh.
And we get this all the time, and I think it's really important that we talk about this. First and foremost, it has never been written down that LinkedIn is. People say it's a professional network. Yes, but it's not written down anywhere that says that you need to work in a particular way. The next thing is what you do is you say to people, so when you try and sell something, what do you do? Say, well, you know, we take them out to dinner, we take them to the rugby, maybe not the rugby. We take them to football, you know, whatever. And why do you do that? Well, we do that because we get closer to them. Yes. And what I'm getting to is that on LinkedIn, people are still people, and what they're looking for is empathetic content that they can actually understand and you know, empathize with you and connect with you. And it's no different from Facebook. And what you're going to find is more and more content like that. And we've actually done research. And the research is very simple. What you do is you get someone to put an ad out and you see how many likes it gets, which will be very small because nobody likes adverts. And then you work your way up through the different types of content to what we see as humanized content. And humanized content gets lots of likes. So the conclusion that you can come to from that is that people like humanized content because they've liked it. People don't like adverts because they haven't liked it. So if you like adverts, by the way, anybody out there, start liking them, because at the moment, the only conclusion we can jump to is nobody does.
Yeah.
And so what we do is that we know that people like humanized content, and we actually teach people to create humanized content on LinkedIn, because that's the way that they're getting the most likes, and therefore they're getting the most connections with people, as I talked about earlier on. If someone likes it, you have something in common. Therefore, you can start having conversations with these people, and it's conversations that create sales.
Oh, 100%. And I remember I put up a sunset once, and a guy contacted me from a really big company, contacted me because I said, how did you hear about me? He goes, oh, you put up a sunset on LinkedIn. I was like, really? I was like, oh my God. Like, it just proved what I'm always saying. Like you just don't know who's watching, folks. You just don't know. And
no, so one of my guys, he closed 2 deals last week off one blog. So one blog, I need to find the timeline. The managing director phoned him up. So on Monday, he put a blog out at 10 a.m. on Monday. He got inbound from the managing director at 4:30 that afternoon. They had a call at 4:30 on Tuesday. On Wednesday at 3 o'clock, he got a verbal go ahead. And on Friday, he got the purchase order.
Wonderful.
And that is purely from putting out content. And that person said, this person I know runs a podcast. So that managing director had watched all of his podcasts for the last 12 months.
Yeah, it can take a while. They can be watching for a while, by the way.
Yeah. So that reading his material.
Yeah.
And so now, but everybody goes through a process. Nobody wakes up in the morning necessarily and says, I'm going to necessarily buy stuff. What happens is that people go through a process of looking to see, just as much as you walk into a shop and say, I'm going to look at this particular product, and then I'm going to walk down the road and I'm going to try on that pair of shoes, and then I'll come to a decision. So people come to decisions, and that may take time. But the fact of the matter is that people are out there, and they're looking at your content, and they're jumping to conclusions about you and your business based on that. And if you don't have content, you're invisible.
Yeah, and I remember going to a meeting once, and I had been in the newspaper the weekend before, and it was a story about me, my sobriety and stuff like that, and how I turned my life around. And I was in the meeting, and when I was leaving the meeting, so the meeting went really well, and he said, right, okay, I'll send you an email after. And I was like, okay. And I was leaving, I was walking out the door, he goes, by the way, love the article on Sunday. And it's like, whoo, you know what I mean? It was like nothing to do with the business, nothing. It was mad.
Yeah, and don't this content can be created by anybody.
Yeah,
you don't have to have tens of thousands of followers on Twitter or whatever. This is the way that you prospect and market in 2021.
When you show you're the expert. So I did I have one, is Twitter not working for your business? I can tell you why. It's one of my most popular blog posts. So I repurpose it a lot. I put it out last night. Is Twitter not working for your business? I can tell you why. So I mean, things like that work really well. The dramatic, I better check, make sure I'm using it right. But content that I find works really well, Tim, I don't know if you agree with me, but like when you show your expertise. So if you give a little bit of information that they didn't know yesterday, if they didn't know that fact yesterday, they've learned something new. So you're adding value. Even today on this, Yvonne is here. Michelle is here. There are other people here. I can't see their names, unfortunately, at the moment. Alice, people buy from people, not AI or faceless websites or totally irrelevant adverts. Agree,
Alice taught me to blog.
Yeah?
Yeah, she did, yeah.
Brilliant, Alice.
Yeah.
Well done. And I'm always saying people buy from people. It's so funny, Alice. That's something I say all the time.
And she puts a really good point, because if you read any of the material from Gartner or McKinsey, they all say that AI is basically coming to save sales and marketing. So it's like, so what you're telling me is automation, and we're going to become less human, and that's going to save us. It's not.
No.
They're wrong. What we want and what we've been one of the things that we've learned over the pandemic is actually it's what we want is to be more human. Yeah. And if you think that if you automation and AI is right, you saying to your customers, I can't be bothered to talk to you, or I can't be bothered to working with you in any shape or form, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to automate this. People aren't stupid. People aren't going to buy that.
I'm doing some consulting with a company, and I was looking at one of the companies I was looking at this morning, and I noticed that there's a Facebook post from 2 weeks ago, and then a comment saying, "I will never, ever, ever buy your products." Da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh my God, it's there. It hasn't been replied to, and it's there from 2 weeks ago. And like, that is just a perfect example of automating and just leaving it there, you know, and it looks so bad.
Yeah. And you know, there's loads of, there's this whole big thing around sales tech and martech, and it's all about automation. It's you know, email automation hasn't been the miracle cure, because just because you can buy a tool that can send more and more emails out, people have got to read them.
Yeah, and Alice, feel free to jump in if you want. I can throw the link over to Tim and message it to Tim, and he can message it to you. Evelyn says the power of people is crucial when growing our networks. Yes, Yvonne, I saw it on Twitter already. Like myself and Yvonne was down this direction, Tim, and reached out to me, and we met for a cup of tea.
Oh,
and we never met before. You know, it was just, she was here just before lockdown. But you know, this is how the power of just meeting for that coffee, you know, can be powerful, especially
I've met people all over the world through Twitter. I mean, it's an amazing resource, and I'm sure, you know, Clubhouse is very similar in terms of, I think the two are very, very similar. Twitter is very much about the written word. Clubhouse is very much about the spoken word, and I'm sure Spaces will be the same with on Twitter as well.
I'm building a community of people on Twitter Spaces already. I love it. But look, can you give people some examples? So a tip they can implement today, folks, we're going to give you, okay? Just to give some extra value, because I know Tim's a busy man. Don't want to keep him too long. So any tip we can give you this morning, any questions, let us know in the chat and I will ask Tim. But Tim, have you got one tip that we can implement today? One tip.
I think that well, I can give you loads of tips. I think that the thing that I said earlier on, which is about treating everything as a conversation, and not as a sale, and I think that's so important. And also, you know, your likes and comments are gold. And you know, you need to treat them as such. And I love your example of someone saying, "I'm never going to buy from you again," and then people are not. You know, you've got to. Social is the way that in the pandemic, everyone shifted to social, and all of the research says this.
I'm going to give one tip as well. And the tip I will give this morning is, Ailish says, I think AI frees up content creators to do more narrative human storytelling and create more, not less. There you go. That's from Ailish. And Ailish, whenever I come across AI, I ask to speak to a human. And I'm the same, Alice, especially if I get a Facebook message bot thing. I know they can work in certain situations, like especially if people are time poor and business owners on their own, and they need something to say, look, we are here and we'll get back to you later. I understand that. But still, you can't beat the old human thing.
I think one of the things that came out of the research from Catherine Cole was that when they started off, they had this backlog of content that was created, and content was seen as being the only place that you could create content is marketing. And what we've proven was that's not the case. What we've done is that we've empowered the sales team and the technical people there as well to actually create their own content. So creating authentic content. So it can be content so it says, this is what I stand for, I'm an expert on this, or it can be content that says, you know, I put out a post on Saturday, which was the last meeting, a photo of the last meeting I had before lockdown. You know, it's just a human.
I saw that.
And what they found at Telstra was that actually the whole backlog of content went. Because as soon as you empowered the people, what you were doing was that you gave everybody the ability to create content, and so there was no backlog. Now, this is sometimes very tough for marketing departments because they see this is kind of like this is what they do. But also what Catherine has done is that she's realized that actually having the backlog is not a good thing. So what she's done is that she's let go of the content piece. And actually what they found is they're generating more business from it. And this is, I think, one of the changes that we see taking place as we move away from the analog working, or kind of analog plus working in terms of digital, and moving to, now we talk about digital dominance. There's a lot of people that say we're on social, and we can argue
We're all over social.
we're all over social. That's another one of the ones you like. Well, I get lots of people coming, we're over social, and I go and I look at their social profiles and say, you're not. I was looking in a company the other day, and they had 5 people in their company that said social media expert, and I was thinking, you're not. Just by looking at your LinkedIn profile, I can tell you're not a social media expert. And the thing is that things have shifted so much. I don't think we realize how much things have shifted in the people. This is not necessarily, so the sellers and the marketers are so far behind the way that the buyers are. And some of these things, as we move towards being far more digital and, moving to have digital dominance, we have to let go of a number of things.
Yeah, I'm just throwing up some of those comments are very good, and Alice in particular, and Yvonne.
That's cool. I like that, the way you do that.
That's a restream. Yeah,
that's good.
You put the comments up. It's lovely, isn't it? And yes, and I agree about this one, Alice. And I've done this a lot. Alice, you and I are just so on the same page. You can learn so much about your customers if you actually talk to them. And that's the tip I was going to say. Yes. That's the tip I was going to say for today. Ask your customers how you can help them today. So ask your audience, do a little Twitter poll or a LinkedIn poll or a Facebook poll. Like, do a little poll and say, right, what's your biggest challenge right now in X, whatever you're an expert in? So what is your biggest challenge? And put a few options. Ask your audience what would help them most. I did a tweet the other day on Saturday. What would help you most right now was the tweet. And I was able to help about 3 people that responded. I couldn't. And one guy did say, could you get Ireland to win the rugby and make the sun shine?
And I did.
Oh, Jesus, I'm not magic. But as it happens, it worked. Hi, Tim. Lovely to see you, Tim. So that's my tip for today. So ask your audience, which is what Alice was saying. Ask your audience how you can help them. Ask your audience what would help them right now. And another little tip is, when you're going to do a tweet or a post today, I want you to ask yourself this: is this post going to add value?
Yep.
Is it going to inspire? And is someone going to learn something new from it today if I post this? Yeah.
I totally. I think that's great, because I've seen a number of people call posts social graffiti, but if you're not adding value, it shouldn't be there.
I think it's really funny when you see people saying, oh, this is not Facebook, and then you look at their profile and you're like, well, I don't care what you think. Do not take criticism from someone you would never go to for advice, folks.
No, I like that. Yes. Yeah, I had someone that came to me from that post from Catherine Cole, and she said, oh yeah, human content is brilliant. So I thought, oh, that's great. So I went and looked at her LinkedIn profile, and it was all corporate content that had no engagement on.
Well,
and you go, oh.
I think a lot of people, it comes from the top, so it's about the CEOs and the decision makers. Get in there, see what's going on with your company's account. Is your account engaging? Are your social media people missing a trick? Talk to Tim, talk to me, talk to people like us. We actually do know what we're talking about, and we're seeing so much changes right now. So please do keep in touch, So anyway, Tim, thanks a million for your time, and thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Alice and Tim and Yvonne and everybody, and Evelyn and everyone for commenting. And Ailish, we've tested this. My audiences love to see themselves or versions of themselves or UGC in posts across the board.
User-generated content. Yeah.
Now, you see, UGC, I said, user-generated content is brilliant. And it's a great example of getting people to, like I did with the Sober St. Patrick's Day video. Perfect example, Tim. It was a great example. We got people sending us videos from all over the place.
Yeah, I remember saying to you, I'll do your video, and then I went to Sober St. Patrick's Day, and there's all kinds of videos from all kinds of places, and they were all short, engaging, nice little videos of interesting places.
Yeah, so there you go. And it was easy. Just put it together, lovely. So look, thanks everyone for joining. Tim, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
And thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we will see you on Twitter and LinkedIn and wherever you're hanging out. Thanks a million, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Have a great week, everyone.